Right here, it's talking about 8 or 9 minutes in, and then I left it just so that it can stand. And this is now going through my brain. This is a massive big canvas of Ark Royal I'm doing. I did a painting of HMS Centaur about 3-4 months ago and became sort of obsessive about aircraft carriers. I don't know whether really I've seen that. What I may probably do is I may go nitpicking in this little bit. Oddly enough, the focal point is not the carrier. The focal point is this little tub that's sort of snuggling up to it. I'll probably leave that for months. On the other hand, I might go and do some on it this afternoon. But that in a way is already painted in my head. And, I did actually, because I said, my nickname at art school was Pongo. And he said, "You lot," he said, "you're dead from the neck upwards." He said, "You'll be worrying about your teaching pensions," he said, "and your life insurances." He said, "Pongo will still be painting." Every now and again I remember that, and I wish to myself, well, I haven't said it, it's a life sentence. So as soon as I start thinking, God, I only get 60 quid a week pension, I think to myself, no, you're still painting. One Saturday evening, my wife said to me, she said, "Why don't you paint Lincolnshire?" I mean, as if I hadn't. So I said, "All of it." I was sort of grinning and laughing about this, and she said, "Well, I should do one huge picture," she said, "of Lincolnshire." So I thought, yes, nice idea. Where? And she suggested this. Because again, I'd done some watercolours. She says, "I don't know why you don't do an oil painting of the common." Well, I had done oil paintings of the common, so I interpreted it immediately as meaning another one. And I think to be candid, for say something like an hour and a half, 2 hours work, simply because she inspired me to go and do it, I think that's got to stand alongside some of the larger pictures I've ever done as being a stunning success. It's what I would refer to as a palette cleaner. I'm inordinately mean. Turner is my hero, and I do not chuck paint away. So consequently, at the tail end of every large series of paintings, there is paint left on the palette, and I use it. We come up with a colour scheme like this. As I say, this is when I went through my lost phase of plagiarising and having a look at other people, and this is one of the things that got done. This is one of the many miniatures I painted. Miniature doesn't mean small. This miniature is from the Latin for red lead, minium.
Ah, right.
Which is what the limners used to put in the paint to make it flow, so they could get tiny brush strokes. I had a phase about 6 years ago where I felt impenetrably lost. So I thought, well, what will I do? Okay, I must do something, I must be creative. I'll quite literally, Picasso went and looked at Velasquez and various other people. I thought, okay, well, I'll start again. I'll learn to draw. I'll make myself do it. And I thought, well, I was doing supply teaching at the time, so it was quite useful. You see, I could sit in class, everybody else working away quite happily, and me. And I touched the tip of an iceberg. I started copying Holbein drawings. You've got one behind you, the Henry VIII one. I mean, that one is, well, I won't say the masterpiece, because I mean, they are copies. But I've never been quite the same since. It has certainly affected my attitude towards making modern portraits. At one time I would have been intuitive and gone on great length about character analysis. No, I don't. For me, the touchstone with a portrait is the fact that quite simply it damn well looks like them. There's no point in saying, okay, that is a lovely character analysis, if the closest and the nearest and the dearest are saying, yeah, but of who? I think it's a cop-out when people do portraits and they don't look like them. You know, I mean, I'm old enough to be quite savage about that, and all the young moderns can chuck bricks at me and stuff if they want to. You know, I prefer that to being ignored. But I think it's quite essential that they look like them. I don't mind if sometimes you get stuck doing a portrait. Okay, count the eyelashes. I know my mother-in-law, and I know my wife. A lovely lady. And That's my most recent portrait. Direct spin-off of looking at Holbein. Really, I mean, I used to go through a phase of being so inured by Renaissance ideology and that sort of thing that I felt that a pencil drawing could not be a finished work of art. We were taught like it. We were taught to believe that a pencil drawing wasn't a final statement. And that the greats would always look down their noses, and that a pencil drawing was only a design and that sort of thing for a final. I don't want to paint that lady. What would I say further about her? I don't want to. Or what if I paint her? I shall say something else. That is my statement about her. Okay, so it's monochrome. Everybody knows she isn't grey. We know she isn't on a piece of paper. Then it's a drawing. It is an analysis. But I also like it to be a nice design and that sort of thing. And I do like sort of sometimes saying to myself or people, you know, I can bloody draw. My generation learnt. We did 5 days a week at art school. Note I don't call it art college, art school. And 9:30, usually until about 9 o'clock at night. And a bulk of it was drawing, which we adored. You say to a great many modern people, they say, oh, I couldn't have handled that. And I think, you didn't know anything else, and that's all you wanted to do. And it's cheap. You know, anybody can afford an HB pencil and a rubber and a sketchbook. You're a tenner, you're in business. That is literally how big it looks. You go walloping down Merrim Lane, and there it is. I've been working on them for some time. I was literally making them up. I didn't need to go and sit outside to do what I wanted to do. I didn't need to copy specific fields and that sort of thing. And I was showing them to the old boys who worked on the fields and that sort of thing, and they were not quite, but almost identifying which fields they were. And they weren't, of course, because I'd invented them. I would not describe that, you see, as a two-dimensional work. I know some watercolours are, because they're no thicker than the thickness of the paper. I mean, I know that. I mean, my favourite bit of the whole lot, without a doubt, is that, again. Which is the focal point. I mean, everything's sort of leaning that way. And there we are. And Caroline, my wife, kept saying to me, don't touch that bit, don't touch that bit. As if I was going to, don't touch that. We're seeing here now a series of 4 or 5 paintings pointedly made on the same size boards of the same area. My wife said that she felt that it was time I really started painting in and around Lincoln. If you want to play Spot the Dog at any time, you will see that it is the little dog on the Put Your Doggy Droppings in Here poster. She's on most lamp posts in the West End of Lincoln, and I hadn't the heart to leave the dog out. And there isn't a dog poo dropping thing in my picture, so I put the little doggy, bless him, outside the Hinds's post office. Well, back in Hampton Street, about a month or so on, I wasn't really truly aware of the difference with the two paintings until I'd done them both. And of course, in this one, the flowers have all come out. Started arousing the interest of that sort of little squadron of magpies. They were really there. There really were the 4 of them. And subsequently, my daughter has actually given birth to a baby boy, so I mean, I'm beginning to evaluate my own superstitious side. But these are so much like my early stuff. It isn't true. I think it's a sort of a brief affair, if you like, with what I used to do. You could say that it's a nice arrangement of abstract shapes. Sure it is. So here we have it. Here we have Connell's Barber's Shop. The Hanging Gardens of Lincoln. Not something I normally do. Give a picture a specific title. I don't actually mind whether I sell them or not. In fact, if I minded about selling them, I think I'd probably exhibit more. I'd probably trudge around the major galleries and that sort of thing. Well, I don't, for two reasons. One is laziness. I'd sooner stay at home and do some more pictures. And another one is I know perfectly well if I did, I would get loads and loads of criticism, which would either hurt my feelings tremendously, or I wouldn't care. The former would do me no good whatsoever because it wouldn't alter my mind about the way I painted. And the latter wouldn't make any difference anyway because I don't know how many people's opinions I value. So there's no point. As I've said, things tend to slot into place.
Got to the stage with this one where I'm really finishing off, and I've got to. I always find it more traumatic getting to this bit than actually starting something. I know Picasso said that a white canvas can be extremely daunting. Many people have often said to me, I suppose they've said it to lots and lots of artists, that it's a gift, some gift. I've always attempted to, in my own mind, qualify that. I think that the gift thing, I don't think it's any more gift than anything else. Everybody's got lovely specific things they can do, I imagine. I like to believe they have anyway. I think the gift bit is actually wanting to do them. I think if I'm gifted, if people who paint pictures and sculpt and create things simply for the sake of them are gifted, the gift bit is the wanting to do them. After that, you're on your own. I sometimes find people in the city who say they like my latest picture, and I wonder where on earth they've seen it. Well, of course they've seen it when they're walking their dog first thing in the morning.